Good evening, everyone. I am Nishi, the head national leader, and I welcome all of you to the third session under internship program initiated by 3G School of Psychology. 3G School of Psychology is in sub umbrella program under 3G IRPS. So today we have a session on art therapy by Spriha ma'am, who was very kind enough to accept my invitation. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Nishi.
Yes. Now I would like to call Deepak to give a formal introduction of the speaker.
Yeah, good evening everyone. Hope everyone is doing fine. So today we are in the third session of our awesome internship series, and I would like to welcome Ms. Spriha Mukherjee. She is an applied psychologist and an art therapist. She is founder of Cave of Art Therapy, and she is currently pursuing PhD in psychology in the area of art therapy. We are very glad to have you here, ma'am. So like we would be like happy to hear more about art therapy. We have like heard so much about scientific theories like CBT, etc. And we would like to know more about art therapy. So you can take over from here, ma'am. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Deepak, for such a beautiful introduction. I'm glad to be here, a part of the session, and to be sharing about art therapy with you all. I would be keeping the session bilingual for the ease of communication and expression as well as understanding of concepts. So I'll be using both Hindi and English while explaining about the topic. एंड दिस इज गोइंग टू बी अबाउट आर्ट थेरेपी. आज हम आर्ट थेरेपी के बारे में बेसिक्स जानेंगे. वी विल बी हैविंग एन इंट्रोडक्शन सेशन टू आर्ट थेरेपी. So let me see if I can share my screen with you. Then I would be starting with the presentation. And
Excuse me, ma'am. I'm very
Yes,
sorry to
ma'am.
interrupt, but we have like many South Indians here who can't understand Hindi, so it'll be very nice if we could, communicate in English.
okay, okay. I thought it would be comfortable both in Hindi and English. So I and no issues at all. It would be quite comfortable for me as well to keep it in English and flow. Thank you so much for letting me know, Nishi.
Thank you.
Now, this is going to be an introduction session as shared with you all. So, I will be like sharing with you all about art therapy, that in the field of mental health, for emotional health, emotional wellness, as well as for your behavioral functions, for your well-being, your quality of life, how art therapy can be brought into use, how it can be practiced as a therapeutic tool by the therapist, by psychologists or professionals, mental health professionals, as well as it's a kind of a area, it's a kind of a tool which can be used as a self-therapeutic measure under the supervision or guidance of a trained therapist or a professional, in order to help oneself in day-to-day basis. So for example, normally in mental health area there are different kind of mental health tools which are available, different kind of therapies. For example, we have cognitive behavioral therapy, we have rational emotive behavioral therapy, then we have action commitment therapy. We also look into various other kind of modalities. For example, some people are into healing modalities. Some people are into a little different, like psychoanalytic modalities, like hypnotherapy. But these are kind of modalities and tools which cannot be incorporated by a given client in their day-to-day life also to help themselves. Like, this is not something that they can also, under the supervision or guidance of a therapist, can look into in terms of practicing it on a day-to-day basis in order to like help oneself with their respective concern, or to to keep that balance going in their life. But art is one such tool which can be very much brought into use in terms of self application as well, but only under the guidance and supervision of a trained art therapist. I'm repeating it again. There are certain self therapeutic exercises which can be made use by the individual on day to day basis in order to keep that balance going, in order to not depend on the therapist or the mental health measures to have a one on one session all the time to get out of a given concern, or to be in alignment with self in any mental health problem, during any mental health concern. So that's why art therapy becomes a very important tool, because not only can you take art therapy session with a therapist, with a trained therapist, but under their guidance and supervision, you can also take up certain exercises which you can practice on day-to-day basis for your own benefit, for your own uh, ease of functioning. So for that reason, I'm glad to be introducing art therapy to you all, so that if someone would like to take up a career in art therapy as a therapist, or as as a coach, like therapeutic arts life coach, then either ways you can take it. So there's a small difference between a therapist and a life coach. A therapist is someone who looks into the deeper concepts of an issue relating to their past, whatever they have experienced. For example, there could be patterns, there could be fixed beliefs, there could be some sort of dysfunctionality which has been existing since a long time. There could be subconscious dysfunctionalities. A lot of times, it has been seen that people are having their deep rooted causes of their current issues in their past, and that's where the therapist through their therapy sessions, through the therapeutic approach, helps them tap onto those deep rooted issues and concerns, and bring out the actual reason why they could be suffering, and thereby help them uh, you know sorry, so sorry, I've been getting messages to like exit people.
Ma'am, we are working on it, ma'am. Like,
Okay,
you don't have to worry about it. And also, you can share your screen if you want, ma'am.
sure, I'll be just starting with it. Thank you so
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
much. Yeah. So going ahead, like I was saying, uh, so in such cases, therapists work with the client in terms of helping the issues from the very root level, from the very cause of its existence, and going down the lane in their past, and looking at the first episode, when it occurred and how it occurred, and what were the possible reasons attached to it, the entire, understanding the entire spectrum, and helping them with their desired solutions, and then finally bringing them to a platform where they're finally able to look forward to how they can behaviorally transform their themselves, or their whatever concern they're facing. But in case of a coach who is into coaching people, who is into giving people that idea that how they can rule themselves, sorry, how they can resolve their issues in the given time, in the given situation. For example, if they're facing a relationship problem, instead of going into deeper levels, root level causes of why these relationships are being relationships are suffering, a coach would rather help a person understand. A life coach would rather help a person understand that how would you be able to function in a certain way in a given environment, in the present environment, so as to help yourself develop better relationships, fix your relationship issues, and thereby have the potential to create better relationships in future as well. So a coach focuses on the present and future functioning of an individual. They work on the potential and strength skills of an individual, whereas a therapist would be looking into working with the entire development, like entire subconscious, conscious, unconscious, and the past, present, future development, the entire journey of development. The coach is basically working onto the building of the present and future, the present functioning and the future functioning, and bringing that into balance. They don't get into a lot of detailed understanding of the issue, but yes, a therapist does. So this is the basic difference, and anyone who gets to understand what art therapy is either can practice it to help people through therapy, or as a coach. And a lot of time, why people work as a coach instead of a therapy, because it gets a bit of gets them into a bit of zone of burnout, and they start having a lot of like, you can say stress as well as fatigue, physical and emotional fatigue show up, because it's also a human mind which is ultimately helping another human mind. So those who feel that it becomes a little too heavy or over the period of time to be working in the area of therapy after 5 7 years of like that, then they switch into coaching, because just to get a break, and maybe again after a few years they come back to therapy. So that's why one can always opt for the way they would like to pursue this career and this field, and go ahead about it. Now I will be presenting my screen in front of you all, so that you get a deeper understanding on art therapy. So let's understand what art therapy is. Sorry. Yes. Art therapy is also like any other psychotherapy, wherein a client interacts with a therapist, a trained professional, mental health professional, for any sort of trouble that they are facing, for any sort of issue that they are facing, and to be able to understand that what could be the possible reasons why they are facing so, and what are the possible ways of dealing and managing the same. Now, any problem in the mental health area is not about quickly resolving it. Like the physical health, has so many kind of issues which you have to manage on day-to-day basis. Be it your blood pressure, be it your sugar, be it your arthritis, or be it even your breathing issues. Whatever it is, you manage it on day-to-day basis in a way that you're able to function well. So similarly, even in mental health, whatever concerns you have, be it depression, be it anxiety, be it OCD, be it your stress, be it your relationship, emotional issues, whatever it is, you manage them on day to day. So, in an typical art therapy session, the client, receives therapy from a trained art therapist to understand through art as a medium, that how they can function better and how they can manage their functioning on day-to-day basis. What are the possible reasons why they are, in this situation, and in what ways can they really function in their future in a better way, how they can manage themselves in a better way. And this is all done over art as a medium. They draw certain, they are given certain art exercises to work upon, and as a result of those art exercises, the kind of products that come into structure, that helps them have a platform to reflect over things, and tap onto the subconscious mind and see that what exactly are these colors, symbols, drawings, elements, etc. Have are actually telling about my inner state. What made me draw these, and where am I really psychologically affected, which has been represented in my given drawing. And this entire interaction happens with the therapist, so that there is a consistent guidance, you can say, there's a consistent support in the session for the person to not feel overwhelmed, but they're able to contain the information and reflect over it, and create an insight for oneself. So it is not typically a session where only verbal talking is happening, but major segment of the therapy is being carried out by the artwork, because art making is also therapeutic process, and the work which ultimately comes out in form of a structure is an amazing product to you can say it's an amazing tool to be looked into, in order to understand what could be the different kind of concerns which the person is uh, facing internally, and how it can be tackled. Now, what are the benefits of art therapy, and how these benefits are achieved through art therapy? We are going to look into that through these points. Okay, just a minute. Sorry. Where is emotional difficulties? So when we talk about emotional difficulties, in our day-to-day life we do get affected with certain situations, things, someone said something and it affects us. Certain things, we watch in the television and it deeply, we get affected by it. Or maybe we are talking to a friend and we got so empathized with their concern that we got emotionally affected. All these somewhere must be clogging some sort of an emotional baggage, or maybe subconsciously some emotional expression has taken a toll on you, and it is now interfering with your functioning. So these are different kind of emotional difficulties which are interfering with your process of functioning, and they might be causing some or the other kind of issue to you. At times you must be, must have experienced this, that you don't want to talk about in a certain way to someone, but you happen to do so. Well, this is not exactly you are intentionally doing it, or you by mistakenly you've done it. It is because somewhere in your subconscious, that same amount of pain you have received through those kind of words from someone else, which is still lying in your subconscious and is not healed. So it is now suddenly, shown up in a situation where it got triggered. So these are the kind of situations where you get to understand that maybe I am having certain emotional issues which are at the back of my mind, interacting or interfering with my process of thinking, and it is getting portrayed in a certain way when I'm behaving with people. So those emotional difficulties can be looked into. Then mental illnesses of both the psychotic and neurotic spectrum. When we talk of psychotic spectrum, then schizophrenia, schizoaffect, these kind of disorders, delusional disorders, they can also be, people who have these kind of mental illnesses can also be helped through art therapy, because it helps them contain themselves in those situations where they are having an episode of hallucination, where they are, experiencing something which is uncomfortable to them, which is beyond their control, or they're having those kind of uncontrollable, bizarre thoughts which are somewhere, disturbing them a lot, and they're not able to do anything about it. So it helps them contain those kind of thoughts, those hallucinations, in form of artwork, because once they come up with it, they're able to give it their own understanding, their own meaning, and they're able to understand, if this is what it looks like, if this is what it is, then I have a control. They feel a sense of control in terms of being able to manage it. So also, even to these people who have psychotic concerns, art therapy helps them a lot. Even when they are doing a simple exercise of coloring within figures, or drawing simple, copying artworks and drawing and then coloring within them, that itself helps them with memory and attention span, that helps them with cognitive stability and cognitive, more stable cognitive functioning. So in my work experience of 5 years, I've seen so many psychotic cases wherein I've worked with them through art therapy, and it has literally helped them along with the medication when they were consistently in practice of art therapy sessions, like where they were attending them. So it brought a huge change in their cognitive processing. They were all the more stable to perceive and receive information, and they were all the more stable to respond towards it. They were all the more they were able to contain their hallucinations. They were able to give it some a bit of logical understanding, that whatever is happening, I can deal with it. It's not something which has a control over me. But it's like my mind is in my control, I'm not in my control of mine, and that eventually happened. So it does help them a lot. And one very beautiful example would be of Van Gogh, a very famous painter. So he himself was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and in Paris, when he was put to he self-admitted himself to mental asylum, and he would draw a lot of paintings, and those paintings are now are bought by people and appreciated by the world so much. And those were all his expressions of his hallucinations, his delusions, his illusionary world. And he used to write letters to his brother saying that, in my art helps me bring out what emotional turmoil and what helplessness I feel within. And then I feel a certain sense of control. They help me feel a lot more stable and a lot more powerful. So it was very beautiful. The expression that he has shared about doing artwork. And talking about the neurotic spectrum, so we have people with depression, we have people with anxiety, with OCD, with personality disorders. For them, artwork, actually participating in an art therapy session works amazingly. specifically those who have mild to moderate symptoms. Those with severe symptoms, of course, can be a part of our therapy sessions along with the medication process going on side by side so that it is properly balanced. But specifically, those with mild to moderate symptoms, they are able to overcome their episodes of depression and anxiety, and bring it to stability to a great extent. This is because art has a very positive impact on the bilateral functioning of the brain, and because of which the synaptic activity gets all the more enhanced. The brain, the gray cell, the gray matter in the brain gets all the more enhanced. The very the brain starts generating a lot of positive, or you can say happy neurohormones like oxytocin, then also your serotonin. These actually get released in ample amount, and they are able to experience better mood and emotional experiences. So that's why, when someone is into depression or into experiencing anxiety or having personality issues, when they are made to go through certain artwork sessions, or even when they're particularly made to go through and participate in art therapy session, they actually experience a shift altogether, a paradigm shift in within themselves, because not only do they see that their symptoms of depression or the respective neurotic disorder, not disorder but symptom is going down, but also they're able to create a meaning for themselves. They're able to come out of that existential crisis situation. They're able to give themselves altogether a different understanding of life, which is very beautiful to observe. So with mental illnesses, art therapy works very beautifully. Then with behavioral issues, like I was saying, I was talking about personality disorders. So those particularly with borderline personality disorders, or even narcissistic personality disorder, they're able to contain their emotional instability to their hostile nature, etc., a lot through art therapy sessions. They're able to actually bring themselves to an extent, to a level where they are able to reflect over their actions and thereby take a sane call on it. So behavioral issues are also looked into, and not only among adults, even in children. When art therapy is done in terms of the behavioral training, a lot of benefit has been observed. Like those with autism or ADHD, when they have been made to participate in art therapy session, it is seen that these kids become all the more patient and receptive towards the instructions. They look forward to be a part of it. It makes them all the more disciplined. It makes them all the more happy, very confident. Their self-esteem is boosted. So even with kids, even with children, art therapy works beautifully. Trauma and loss, absolutely. It helps in the creation of acceptance and making peace with whatever they have faced, to give it a different meaning in their mind and heart so that they're able to move on with whatever trauma or loss they have experienced. So through art, using of art as a therapeutic tool, we are able to help people grieve, better in a healthy way over whatever they are facing, and at the same time give it a significant meaning in their life and move on with it. Cognitive difficulties, for example, I was sharing previously that with cognitive, when it comes to cognition and mental, your memory, attention, cognitive thinking processes, like how people are perceiving information, in what ways are they remembering information, everything is very much complemented when a person is participating in an art therapy session. Logical difficulties, so when we talk of neurological difficulties, it is very important to understand that it is basically about how the brain, is functioning. So, like I said, that doing an artwork improves the brain functioning. So, anyone who is facing neurological difficulties due to a paralytic attack, or maybe due to some neuro parasympathetic system issue or anything, they're able to actually benefit themselves through art therapy sessions a lot. Relationship issues, addiction and rehabilitation. So there's something very interesting about addiction and rehabilitation. Back in 1970s, craft, you must have heard the word. So craft is an acronym of of state, you can say, a program which the full form of which says cre- um, your community reinforcement and family training program. So, full form of craft is community reinforcement and family training program. Craft therapy got started back in 1970s, and the very objective of introducing craft therapy was to enable individuals to rehabilitate themselves through development of expected social and behavioral skills. So these individuals, these participants would come down along with their family members to
Uh, Sorry, ma'am. Hello? Ma'am, I think you got muted, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes. So in a typical craft therapy session, what used to happen is that all these people who would be having addiction issues or some sort of drug, they have been into drug abuse, they would be invited to come and participate into craft making. Like they would be given a lot of these scrap materials and waste materials, and they would be encouraged to create something out of it. Colorful papers, adhesives, and different kind of elements to decorate their work. And they would do it along with their family members, and it was a beautiful scene to see how there would be a lot of collaboration, there would be a lot of cooperation, a lot of the family tie between them and the family would get strengthened, and there would be a lot of encouragement for these people to understand that life is so much more than the addiction that they have been into, than the drugs, than the various kind of abusive drug abuse that they have experienced in their life. So craft therapy became a well encouraged practice since 1970s, and till date it is into practice. In various countries you would see there's a particular kind of craft which is very much famous. Here in India we have variety of handicrafts which are there. We have Kantha towards Kolkata, we have your these Jaipuri Leheria prints and like artwork towards the Rajasthan. Then we have your a lot of these bamboo crafts towards your Andhra and your Bihar side. Even towards southern India there are so many kind of craft works which are being seen. Like if in fact the very concept of mandala making, the rangoli making, it came from there. So we have a lot of art and craft in our culture itself, and it is already into practice. Similarly, in other countries like in Mexico, they make a typical kind of craft which is called the god's eye. If you go onto YouTube and you search for that tutorial, you would be able to see that it's a very simple process of making something, and it is extremely mindful and meditative in nature. In Mexican countries, what they do, they make a god's eye in order to chant a prayer, and they believe that the prayer that I'm chanting is actually being shared by one and all, and it would increase the prosperity and peace around in our community. And then they hung it on their in front of their houses, or on their bed, or maybe on the doorknob, or they would exchange it as gifts. So like these, there are different kind of crafts which are there, the bohemian crafts which are very much into fashion these days. So these are all having their own therapeutic properties because of which they are practiced. And that is why if you go and look into the lives and study the lives of people who are into direct interaction of these craft making, you would see their well-being level is extremely high, because it directly impacts the functioning of the neurological functioning of the brain. And that neurological functioning of the brain is so much responsible for the decision healthy decision making, that they're able to have a very sorted life. So a lot of times specifically people are being even referred that get into any sort of creative activity, like either music or maybe art or craft or dance, as a part of your daily life, in order to keep that charm on, in order to keep yourself happy on a day-to-day basis, because that helps with your brain development. So craft was, of course, a very good practice since then until date it is. specifically for addiction and rehabilitation. Then to cope with physiological traumas, yes, a lot of time people who meet with accidents or get a very bad injury. Unfortunately, those who get victims become victims of acid attacks, or people who have cancer, and specifically women with breast cancer who undergo surgery of removal of their breast. So these are the cases where physiological traumas are extreme, and in such cases, the acceptance towards the trauma is very important in order to help them process it, and to help them come out of it. So for that reason, art therapy was is used as a tool, because it is the most non-intimidating tool that one can make use of. Like, art would never make you feel humiliating, it would never make you feel threatened, it would never make you feel negative in any way. Art can only help you feel cathartic, relaxed, happy, or burden free. You would be able to have your own channel of emotion. So this is used as a tool to help people with even physiological traumas to create acceptance towards it, overcome that, give it a meaning for themselves in life, and move through it. So this is how it is used as a tool with them. Then self identity challenges, even in the case of people who have identity crisis, those specifically the young adults who go through midlife crisis, or even anyone who goes through existential crisis. Middle life crisis usually happens between the age of 25 to 35. So that's the very age of the youth. So a lot of times who have been exposed to struggling career, or life, family life, etc. In those early years, they tend to have a lot of dissatisfaction, and midlife crisis occur. So for them, even those who have physiological challenges to face, and they have to create a new identity of themselves, and they're finding it very difficult to do so. So with such cases, art therapy has been seen to work very well. Self-esteem levels, yes, of course. Self-confidence, self-esteem, self-love, self-worth, self-care, these are components which are very much important for our day-to-day life. Like, without these we cannot exist, and we cannot become an important individual, a significant we cannot have a significant life of our own. So these all these components are very much taken care of through art therapy. And how is it done? Now we'll be covering those points. So number one, engagement. In any art therapy session, the very act of engaging an individual into art making is very impactful. They get so engrossed into the process of making artwork, doing art, understanding art, or feeling like those kind of feelings which emerge, that I would like to use this kind of a color, I would like to create it this way, I would maybe like to create a mixed art thing, like using some craft work and artwork together. These ideas that they come up with, and when they're encouraged by the therapist to accordingly work over it, and then through that artwork, they are able to create something, some sort of a meaning for their own of their own life, or whatever they're facing. It's a very empowering experience. So the very engagement in the process brings in a lot of shift in the individual. If they're sitting down with a certain amount of resistance, by the time you would see that they have progressed halfway through the session, there is a lot of you can say a lot of progress that they have made, a lot of changes that they have already attained. They have opened up to the idea of doing artwork in order to explore themselves. Then enhancement in quality of life. How do we do it? Every day in an art therapy session, every time you attend it, there is some kind of a meaning to you and to your life that you're carrying back with yourself. This is certainly going to impact the quality of life that you have, and hence it enhances it. So that is how art therapy sessions help in the enhancement of quality of life. Then uh, encouraging emotional expression and regulation. Most of the issues that we face in our life is due to suppression of emotions and non-expressivity. For example, when you are a child, when you are a 5 7 year old child, maybe you got hit by a student in your class, and you went to a teacher to complain about it because you were very disturbed by the incident, and the teacher was like, chup chup, like, just go and shut your mouth and just go and sit. You need not talk. You're not over here. You're not supposed to come and complain. You're not supposed to come to a teacher and talk. You have to go and sit down. This child would forever have this as a suppressed emotion. This would be then further interfering, interacting with one's functioning, and would grow up being a suppressed a person, an individual who tends to suppress emotions, or would always feel that there is no point of talking about things to people, would have negative perception of people who are elder to him, who are in command to him, would not like the very concept of justice would be very messed up for him. So they would tend to empathize more towards people who are always suffering, and if anyone is successful, they might actually have a lot of jealous and very different kind of an attitude towards them. Why? Because at that point of time, this very emotion, this little emotion, was triggered emotion, was not really looked into by the teacher. So in such cases, our therapy makes sure that all the dubbed, all the suppressed, all the constricted emotions come up on the surface. They show up so that we are able to understand and select that which one to keep and which one to chalk out, so that we no more face that which we don't want to face, and we become all the more idle with our functioning ability. Then evaluating and understanding underlying psychological process. Like I said, when you are looking into those little things, thoughts, emotions, which at some point of time must have been constricted, then obviously you would be able to understand how your psychological process have been affected, and then that gets the attention of you as well as a therapist, and you're able to do something about it. Establishing congruency, as in what you want to think and what you are thinking, there should be an alignment and not conflicts. All the conflicts get resolved. What you want to do and what you are doing should be in alignment. What you're watching and what you want to watch should be in alignment. So through art therapy, you're able to bring in that alignment, that congruency, and that helps in creating balance, that helps in generating more balance. Then enabling self reflection and transformation of self, that is the most important thing. Like I said, every session you're taking back a significant meaning of your life and yourself with you. So when you have this with you, then definitely you would be able to have better reflection over self functioning, and you would be able to transform yourself in relation to your life, or life in relation to you. You become the person who's most empowered to do so. Now, going ahead, here's a brief history of art therapy. It got introduced during 1940s. So the pioneers of art therapy are Margaret Thornburg, Edith Carmo, and Adrian Hill. Margaret Thornburg is known as the mother of art therapy, and she used to have a psychoanalytical approach to art therapy, as in she would look onto the product of the artwork, and this try and understand what could be going on with the person, and thereby help them do something about it. But Edith Carmer, on the other hand, had a psychodynamic approach to art therapy. She believed that she believed that any person who's participating in an art therapy session should be observed during the entire process, like how many times a particular color was picked up. Was there any repetition of drawing? Was there any repetition of color? Was the person's body language uncomfortable, comfortable with the therapist around? Was there anything in the environment which was disturbing the concentration power of the participant? All these little factors, they determine something about the participant, and hence it should be taken into consideration. And Adrian Hill, he himself was suffering from tuberculosis, but he was a painter, he was an artist. So he started doing artwork in the hospital just to motivate himself, just to while away his time. He already had made a compromise that maybe it's this is the last day of my life going on, but he saw while doing artwork and expressing himself that he started to change. He started to feel all the more better. There was a willpower in him to live his life to the fullest, to complete his treatment, to get better, to be, attain a healthy life, and do something about it. So when he observed these changes within him, he took he tried and understand that. He took the responsibility to understand the therapeutic properties of art, and he saw that how art interacts with the brain functioning or the mind functioning of an individual and emotional processes. And then he finally what did he just started encouraging all the other patients in the hospital to start doing artwork too, and thereby he observed that a lot of changes were actually they also experienced, like their willingness to undergo the medication, overcome the illness, and do something about their life enhanced. They became all the more receptive and cooperative with the staff, medical staff. There was a lot of harmony in the hospital between the patients and the doctors. Patients would not refuse to any sort of or show resistance towards the treatment, and the doctors and nurses would also be very compassionate towards it and their work. So, art, as Adrian Hill, this is the way how he explored the therapeutic properties of art, and thereby how art can be used as therapy. And during 90s, 40s is where these pioneers of art therapy brought into formal recognition that what art therapy is, how art is not just a mode of expression, but it is actually a therapeutic medium. Back in late 19th century and early 20th century, when Freud was doing his own projects, he came across a scenario where people were being dejected from the society, from all sort of civil rights, personal rights, etc., because they were being called under some kind of demonic possession. So Freud took the initiative to go and interact with these people, and what he did, he gave them a lot of art material, a lot of these sheets and charcoal sketches, etc., to sketch whatever, draw, and talk of whatever is going on with them. And he saw through those drawings that these people were not under any sort of demonic possession, but rather it was their delusional disorder. Some of them were schizophrenic, and that's how you get to have an understanding to the fact that okay, something as serious as schizophrenia also exists. These bizarre thoughts are not coming out of in a demonic position, but it's the brain which is not functioning in a functional state. It is losing its capacity to a certain extent to function normally. So this is how art was explored as a tool of expression at that point of time. Then Jung followed the principle, and he also started using art as a medium of expression in his sessions. He also traveled to Middle East countries, and he explored how art has been used in India, Tibet, Hong Kong, Singapore, etc. Specifically mandala. How this particular tool has been art exercise has been used by people for their mindful and processes. And he got so impressed that he took the idea and he developed it over there in the Western countries, and he started practicing on it. The Mari assessment, mandala art, I'm forgetting the full form. That assessment is actually being developed on the theories of Carl Jung. So you can look into it. It is available in the or it is available online. So you may look into it and you'll get an idea. So this was a brief history about art therapy, that how it got introduced and how then formally it got a recognition in the last 1 to 2 decades. It has been into full-fledged existence on the fourth ground because of a lot of research activities and etc. that are taking place. Here's a scope of practice. So as after you learn an art therapy, when you get certified into art therapy, you can work in hospitals, clinics, universities, colleges, anywhere you can practice art therapy, because it is applicable to all population, to all work areas, to all age groups, to different kind of concerns. There is no limit to the application of art therapy, so you can practice it as per your convenience, as per your choice, and you can create your own niche as well. Like one of my colleague, she actually does mandala art therapy only because she likes it. She's comfortable with that as a tool, so she works only with mandala art therapy. Now there are also people who does expressive arts, and wherein they don't use art as a fourth to like foreground tool, but they use it as a background tool. And foreground tool, they use music, drama, dance, etc. So there's a difference between art and expressive arts. Expressive arts is basically about literature, poetry, music, dance, drama, theater, these kind of things. And art over here has visual art has a very it has a role at the background to play. But in terms of art therapy, independently, it is a field which has got to do only with visual art, and it can be integrated with other mediums as well. But yes, it's mainly focusing upon making artwork in order to express yourself and talk about your problem. So you can work as an art therapist, or you can work as an art therapy practitioner. So there's a difference between a therapist and a practitioner. If you do an MA in art therapy, or you have art therapy as a specialization subject of study during your master's. So basically, when art therapy is a part of your master's study itself, your master's degree, you can denote yourself as an art therapist. And even if you have a in your masters, even if you've studied art therapy as a specialization subject, you can take it up for an extensive study. You can take up another certification course too, and then you can but yes, you can definitely call yourself an art therapist because you have studied it as a part of your master's course. Now, talking about practitioner is anyone who has not studied art therapy during masters or had it as a specialization or anything, no exposure to art therapy as a psychotherapy during master's degree, but have done a post-master certification in it. So then these people can who does a diploma or a certification course in art therapy can call themselves art therapy practitioner. uh, Clay craft mandala art therapist is like any particular niche that you want to take up. A lot of people work as clay therapist, play therapist, mandala art therapist, narrative art therapist. So you can take up any of the technique or any of the exercise and create a niche in it and practice that. As a career, you can be an art therapy advocate or a blogger, someone who doesn't do art therapy on people but talks about it, uh, generates information and awareness about it, facilitates and collaborates workshops by other art therapists for people. They usually create an awareness platform for people about art therapy. They propagate the area, they make people aware of the area about on art therapy. Such people can start their own consultancy, or they can have a blog or a website of their own, and they can do something over there. So you can even take up a career like that. This is a passive career in art therapy, not where you are actively involved in doing art therapy with people, but where you are passively attached and in the background attached with the area of art therapy. Also, as a coach, like someone who can you can also work as a art therapeutic or therapeutic art life coach with people to help them with their present and future concerns. Going ahead, here is the way you can make a career in art therapy. Like I had shared, that if you have it in your masters, then nothing like it. You should do your masters in art therapy or a specialization in art therapy during your masters, and then you can pursue a career as an art therapist. And even then, if you feel you for more extensive knowledge, you would want to go for an additional certification program, that also you can opt for. If you are doing a postmaster certification in art therapy, because you did not have your masters in art therapy or a specialization exposure to it, then you'll be called through that diploma or certification an art therapy practitioner. For therapeutic art coach, anyone, you can either do a course, not the Udemy one, please. Let me tell you, that's not exactly a certification of practicing art therapy life coach program, because it's like according to their credits, it's very less to what we practice here in India. Here in India, we have a very different kind of an educational system altogether. We prefer minimum 4 to 6 months exposure as a certification program, and 9 to 12 months exposure as a diploma program. So their credits doesn't get added over here. So you can take up, but we do have a lot of these life coaching programs who are also now introducing art therapy along with life coach, like art, using of art as a therapeutic tool in life coaching. So you can do a certification program from them, or you can even, if you do your masters or in art therapy or your certification in art therapy, and then you would like to practice as a therapeutic art life coach, that also you can do. Because yes, a coach, an art therapeutic life coach, can under no circumstances practice art therapy, but an art therapist can definitely practice as a life coach at any point of time that they prefer. Then advocate and blogger, anyone who encourages the practice of art therapy. Basic foundation course in art therapy would be good, or would be, you can say, suggestible for this, but not really that you need to do a master's or a certification program in it. Just basic knowledge of art therapy should be there, and then you can practice as an art therapy blogger or an advocate. You cannot call yourself an art therapist, or you cannot do art therapy with people, or conduct workshops or seminars, you eligible to encourage other qualified professionals to do it under your banner or with you in collaboration. Going ahead, certain myths that I would like to tackle about art therapy, that one need not be skilled in art or learn art in order to be an art therapist. One should be just interested to use art as a medium, as a tool, to work with people and to help them resolve with their psychological issues. And one can make use of art therapy exercises for themselves in case of need. Our therapist can seek therapy and coaching from other people in times of need as well. It is not so that since they themselves are a therapist or a coach, they cannot go to someone else in times of requirement. They can. And just because it is applicable to all population, no one can force you to work with a particular population. It is your choice whether you want to work with all population or would you like to stick to one particular population. Like I am more pro with working with adults and senior citizens, so I don't touch the child area that my other colleagues do. So I always refer them to my colleagues, and they also, my clients also respect that. So you can always do it. No one can force you to do it. Uh, Interpretation of an artwork in an art therapy is only a matter of choice, never mandatory. Uh, there are psychoanalytical process of looking into the artwork and understanding what it could be talking about, the subconscious state of an individual or the inner state. But and it is done on a mutual understanding, on a mutual communication basis. You don't interpret things in your mind and then shoot it as an information to the client, because that could be intimidating to them. So it is a mutual communication process, but it is never mandatory. It is a matter of choice. Mostly people prefer expression and understanding of things over metaphors. They may or may not have an art studio of their own. There's no such compulsion that you can only practice as an art therapist if you have an art studio of your own, nothing like that. And it is applicable to all age group and people from all kinds of background. So here's a small quote by Vincent William Van Gogh, that I dream my painting and I paint my dream. So, any questions that any of you have before we do a small experiential on art therapy? Okay. So, let's explore a small experiential on art therapy now. I would request all of you to take out whatever materials you have. Even a diary or a pen would do for this exercise. You need not really have colors or poster colors or acrylic paints or anything. Just a diary and a pen would do. So what you require to do is make 3 mandalas. Okay, and mandalas, you could, they could be of any size, shape, color, design, but 3 pattern of designs, different, and each of them would stand for a particular phase. For example, the first one is about your releasement, mandala of releasement. Now, this is a very powerful exercise, because once a person does this, then they know that where they need to head towards in their life and what they need to do about things. So when you're doing it, do it with a lot of interest and concentration. It would help. Draw small or medium sized 3 mandalas, and the first one depicting releasement, and write down what are you wanting to release now from your life. The second one about what you want to contain, what you want to keep in your life with yourself. And the third one, what you want to create, what you want to make happen. So these are the 3 mandalas that you need to make, and these 3 things that you need to write down. Once you've done that, you can connect back, and we, if anyone would like to share about it, we can share.
Can you repeat? First one is releasement, second one.
Second one is containment. Like, what would you like to contain? What would you like to keep in your life about yourself, about your life, etc. Whatever you want to keep in your life would be the second one. And what you want to create would be the third one. So, first one, what you want to release. Second mandala, representing what you want to contain, what you want to keep. And third, what you want to create.
Yes, ma'am. That explains it, ma'am. Yeah, we'll also like connect with you like regarding this. Yes, ma'am. Guys, if any of one have any doubt, please ask now.
Guys, you can unmute yourselves and ask questions. Get it clear right away. Okay, Deepak, you can conclude the session now.
Uh,
Yes, just a minute.
Okay.
Sorry, but can I ask one question to ma'am,
Yes,
Yes,
please?
yes,
Tanushree.
yes.
Yes, Tanushree.
Good evening, ma'am. Ma'am, I just wanted to know if you offer some online courses regarding the same on your own basis.
Okay, so yes, Tanushree, we are designing one at present. We just got an affiliation from European Federation of Art Therapy. So with that in place, we are now working towards developing a very exhaustive course which people can pursue, those who want to make a career in the area of art therapy and therapeutic art life coach. So we will be accordingly using the course, and just keep in touch with us through our pages, whether it's a skill program or it's a course altogether. Whatever you would be interested in, you can enroll yourself into.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Most welcome.
Thank you for your session, ma'am. So we'll keep them informed. So Deepak is now presenting your NE certificate.
Thank you
Thank you
so
for
much.
your time and thank you for the efforts that you put in to be that with us. It means a lot. Welcome, ma'am. This is a certificate. Are you able to see, ma'am?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. This is so kind of you all. I'm
Thank
extremely
you, ma'am.
happy to receive it. And this is an honor to me. Thank you so much. I hope this
Thanks a
session
lot.
has been helpful to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
It
ma'am.
is it was very helpful session, ma'am. So thank for connecting this, and we will also be mailing this to you, ma'am. So yeah, I will get your mail ID from Nishi, and thanks for the session, ma'am. So guys, please I will be sharing the registration, sorry, feedback form soon. So please be here, fill the feedback form, and then you can leave the meeting. So thank you so much for the session, ma'am. We have already shared your Instagram page. We will share it again also. So thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was pleasure being on board. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
ma'am. Everyone in the meeting, do fill in the feedback form. We'll be recording it. And those who have missed the session, there will be a YouTube recording as well. They can get it later. Ma'am, did you ask something?
Yes, I was just asking that, shall we be ending the session now? Shall we be exiting now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Like the session is over. Like I will be intimating the participants alone, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Bye. To the participants, do you guys have any doubts regarding anything about the internship and also about the conference? Yesterday we had shared a link, day before yesterday we shared a link about the registrations that needs to be done. But due to some technical difficulties in the website, we'll be clearing it out by today. And from tomorrow, you guys can share it to your friends and everybody related to field in psychology. So, do you have anything to add on or to say to the interns, like how the assignments were there and how
Excuse
it?
me, sir.
Yes, Sarah.
Regarding registration, do we have
Yes.
to share the same link which you have shared to us for registration?
Actually, the
Or
link is the website link. Website email, website address. Okay, so there is a small issue with the login thing. So once it's resolved, we'll be sharing it once again the website, so you can share it. So after that, we'll be sending the link as well, so you can forward it with your referral ID.
okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, because the posters and also the brochure needs to be, it's done by tomorrow. We'll be sending it to you guys. So from tomorrow you can start sharing it to people. Any doubts from this? Uh, Anything to ask?
Is it compulsory to bring 10 like 10 invitees every day?
Like it is not compulsory in the sense, it is because this international psychology conference, it's free, and we are trying to bring high quality best speakers across the world. Okay, so this is a free opportunity and I don't want anybody to miss it. So if you have the
Okay.
opportunity to share it to your friends, it will be very much helpful. Not, I mean, it's not that 10 people a day, it's made sure that you guys connected to as much people as possible in the field of psychology.
Okay. And like when this task ends?
Like, based on the registrations, how we are doing, when you log in as a volunteer, you will get a referral ID. So with the referral ID, you'll be sending it as attachment to the poster that we'll be giving. So when they register themselves with your referral ID, when you log in as a volunteer, log in the website, you will be knowing who are registered under your referral code. So based on
Oh,
that, we'll be tracking on the registrations. So who are getting a maximum registration more than 100 or 200, they'll be getting some kind of benefits.
okay.
So these are things. So if somebody is getting like 300 or 350 people from their own referral ID, so we might be giving them an LOR who is part of this internship. So we'll be giving them a person who is very much well versed in marketing field. So that's a plus point to them, right? So that's why we are trying to push on sharing it referral code to people and finding 10 people per day. That's the thing, guys. Because once we share it or broadcast in WhatsApp group, it is not. Uh, it's not. Not everybody will register for that. So for that purpose only, like per day, try to focus on 10, 15 people. By January 30, 31, we need maximum about 50,000 or 60,000 people to attend this amazing session. Anybody have a doubt?
Which medium this session will be conducting? Like, is it Zoom or
main
other
uh, main
medium?
event is happening on Zoom. So in Zoom, we'll be only able to accommodate 1,000 people. So for others, they'll be able to join through YouTube. So it'll be streaming on YouTube.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So if you guys have any other doubts, in the after the meeting also, you can feel free to ping us. It's me, I'm Joel. You can text Nishi Priya and also Deepak and Harini as well. So if you guys have any doubts regarding something, there's some issues and all. So we'll be immediately, if there's a mistake or some error or bugs in the website, do let us know and we'll try to sort it as soon as possible. So thank you guys. Thank you for your time, Deepak. And is there anything to add on?
No, that's it. We can end the session.
Thank you everyone for your amazing time. Thank you so much. So tomorrow there'll be again a session, I guess. So make yourself free to attend this. Okay. Bye all. The meeting's over.